Welcome to the NFC East Roundtable, a weekly live show featuring top-tier insight and analysis on all things NFC East from the best creators in the division, including Dallas Cowboys creator Jake Tuck, Philadelphia Eagles creator Simone, New York Giants creator Kid Blue, and Washington Commanders creator Rio. Catch the NFC East Roundtable every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on the NFC East Roundtable YouTube channel. What is up, NFC East football fans, and welcome into another edition of the NFC East Roundtable. Week 15 is in the books. The Philadelphia Eagles finally get off the schneid with a dominant victory. The Dallas Cowboys had it, then they didn't in prime time. They lose yet another, and then in a big divisional battle for draft positioning, the New York Giants did find a way to better their spot. The Washington Commanders getting it done over the G-Men. We'll recap all of those games for you right here on the NFC East Roundtable. Then on the back half of the episode, we look forward to Week 16, giving you our previews and predictions for the games coming your way later on in the week. But in the meantime, let's dive into this past week. Let's bring in the gang. And fellas, it's a light gang tonight. It's Jay Tuck. It's KB. It's me. Well, Rio couldn't join us. Simone says she's got a sub coming in for her, but I don't know if they missed the bus or what happened, but we do not have a replacement for Simone. So it's just going to be the fellas for the meantime. If we have someone else join us, we'll be happy to bring them in. But what you see is what you get. And what you're getting is our best effort. Jay Tuck, KB. But looking forward to talking with you tonight about some NFC East ball. Unfortunately, fellas, we can't talk about W's for your team, but we'll dive into it anyways. We'll dive into what we saw on Week 15. Let's start with Sunday Night Football, the battle between Dak Prescott and 9. And he actually didn't fit the meme this time around. A good game from J.J. McCarthy, helping lead the Minnesota Vikings to their 6th victory of the 2025 season. 34 Minnesota, 26 Dallas. J.J. McCarthy, 15-24, 252 scores and a touchdown. Jordan Addison was the guy who stepped up in this one. So was Naylor. Outside of those two, Justin Jefferson, not much production. The Cowboys were able to eliminate him from the game for the most part, but yet the Vikings still able to put up 34 points. Dak Prescott nearing that 300-yard mark, but no touchdowns for Dak in this one. Javonte Williams, 91 yards on the ground. CD, another good game. But once again, Dallas getting around that 30-point mark, not enough to get it done. So, KB, I'll start with you here on the Dallas Cowboys Sunday Night Football. And once again, another one of those outings where, you know, the Dallas offense, it wasn't their best performance, but you feel like it might have been good enough to beat a team like Minnesota, but defense allows 34 points, couldn't get it done. What'd you make of that one?
Yeah, I fully expected the Cowboys to come away with this one. I knew it may be a challenge because of that Brian Flores defense, but I didn't think... the Cowboys defense, nothing surprises you with the Cowboys defense. But listen, I thought the meme was going to live on, but apparently it didn't. Like Z-Bot said, J.J. McCarthy actually looked good. And for whatever reason, they're looking good without Justin Jefferson. That's been a trend this season. It's not just against the Cowboys, because I have Justin Jefferson. He was my first-round pick in fantasy this year, and my goodness, man, Naylor getting 2 touchdowns killed me. But so I lost in the playoffs, sadly. But this was a surprising game for me. I thought the Cowboys, would lock in and try to make that playoff run, try to, cut down on the lead between them and the Eagles, but they weren't able to do enough. And of course, we'll talk about the Eagles matchup later, and they had an easier matchup. So this was a must win for the Cowboys for them to try to stay in the race, and they weren't able to keep up. But this really goes to show that in the offseason, Dallas really needs to focus on defense and getting some defensive pieces in here, man, because it just seems like whatever offense they run into, they're able to score a lot of points. And Dak is constantly forced time and time again to play absolutely better than perfect to try to keep them in these games. And they're just not going to make a lot of playoff runs, no matter how good their offense is, if their defense is this pitiful. But because like I said, their best weapon wasn't even utilized, and they still put up 34 points. I know it started off well for Dallas. You look in that in like that first drive, that tip pass intercepted J.J. McCarthy, and then you had that 4th down fake from the Cowboys. They were able to convert and then score a touchdown on the ground, and it looked good in the beginning, and they weren't able to keep up from there. So that's sad. But yeah, J Tuck, join us on the couch, on the draft couch, baby. We love it. But I was rooting for you guys to cut down on the lead with you and Philly, but it's over now, man. It's over. Well, is it technically, is it over for sure?
Yeah, 1%.
Yeah, 1%, because if they lose out and you guys win out, you guys will get the nod because of the tie. That's what we're hoping for, baby. That's what we're hoping for. Shout out Simone, but I am praying on their downfall.
How crazy that would be, man. That would be crazy.
You brought up fantasy football, KB, and in many ways this past weekend, I sympathized with the Dallas Cowboys because my unit put up 190 points, but they went up against Kyle Pitts. They went up against Trevor Lawrence. They went up against McBride. 190 performance. Jeez. Loses by 20. My opponent put up 210. Never seen anything like it. It felt like a Cowboy outing, fellas, where you put up as many points as you possibly think you can, and it still wasn't enough. J Tuck, sort of that type of outcome on Sunday yet again. Also, I should add, though, a big difference in this game. Brandon Aubrey, uncharacteristically missing 2 field goals. So what did you make of Sunday Night Football, J-Tuck?
As I said last week, man, when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, I trust the Cowboys. When it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs, I trust my Cowboys. When it comes to the Minnesota Vikings, nothing to lose. I mean, it was a Sunday night game, but there's no major headlines. There's no animosity. There was no back and forth. It's a game the Dallas Cowboys should have went out there and handled business, especially being at home. Those are the games where I really get nervous. And like you said, Z-Bot, as soon as I saw Brandon Aubrey miss that field goal, I said, okay, well, here we go. Overall, I think the defense came out first and they got the interception with Quentin Williams. So you felt like, okay, maybe they're going to get out in rhythm, but that was the only mistake that JJ McCarthy has made, and constantly have had to come on this show and talk about Matt Eberflus and this defense. When you have a defensive front who, for some reason, can't get pressure. Now, he was dialing up the blitz earlier on, which caused some of that friction, caused the interception. He got away from it. And Jerry Jones right now isn't too happy about that. But you're not able to dial up pressure consistency. In our corners, they're just not playing well. Trayvon Diggs is having his back and forth with the organization. I think he's probably just doing a soft holdout and probably, just being done with the team for the rest of the season. You have Deron Bland, who we paid big money to. He was, a walk-in target. You had Siobhan Revel and Kalen Carson, who you mentioned. Naylor was having his way with them. So, when you have a defense that can't cover, and also you can't get pressure up front, it's letting these unknown quarterbacks, right, have their best games of their careers. I saw a stat on Twitter and was saying that when you look at the quarterbacks that the Dallas Cowboys face from a QBR standpoint, they have put up the same numbers that a prime MVP Aaron Rodgers. So every game, it doesn't matter whether it's Russell Wilson, JJ McCarthy, Jacoby Brissett, it doesn't matter. The quarterbacks have been playing at an MVP caliber level versus the Dallas Cowboys, except one quarterback, right? But it's just crazy how that's been throughout. I didn't say no names, Kevin.
No.
I didn't say no names. But it's just crazy how it's been for the Dallas Cowboys defense. And right now, with 3 games less, season's pretty much over. It leaves you questioning what's going to happen on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, Brian Flores had our offense in a blender. They pretty much limited George Pickens for the most part. That's 2 games in a row. He was pretty much no bueno. You had a good game from CeeDee Lamb and also Ryan Flo, but it's just not consistent enough. And I really don't think it puts fear into a lot of defensive coordinators. Javonte Williams had a good game on the ground, but they got away from it. He went down the second quarter with the shoulder injury. So you saw Hunter Luepke and Malik Davis, but overall, the offense wasn't able to find a rhythm. And, when the defense is not playing well, you're relying on that offense to really be that makeup to cover for a bad team, the way things are structured. And Dak Prescott just couldn't do it. And the Vikings got the win and pretty much ended the Cowboys season, which was pretty much over in the first place when we lost to Detroit, but it's pretty much stamped it. Close
What
the
did you
casket.
make of your guy Micah Parsons going down for the Green Bay Packers?
Sucked, man. It sucked. I was watching that game, man, and Micah was having one hell of a day. Versus the Broncos, and to see it went down, it's like, man, it was non-contact. I was like,
Yeah,
crap, that's
late
it,
in the
man.
season as well.
So
So
late.
it's gonna be a
Yeah.
problem next season too. So yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it's 9-month recovery. I know Pat Mahomes, he's saying he's going to be back before the opener. I'm like, I mean, you've seen some heroics. I mean, we went through it with DeMarvin Overshown. DeMarvin Overshown somehow came back this year. Trayvon Diggs have done it. So you've seen players have done it, but it's heartbreaking for Micah because one, we know what happened as far as the trade is concerned going to Green Bay. But, I think they were kind of looking like they were going to probably make a little run in the playoffs. But now they have so many injuries. I highly doubt it happens. And the bad part, not just thinking about football, right, first to Micah, is like Cowboys currently around pick 14. We're probably going to be heroes versus the Chargers, probably be heroes versus the Commanders on Christmas and the KB's Giants, right? So we're going to win out. And then you have the Packers who will probably be. So both of those picks from the Micah trade is probably going to be 22 and up. It's going to be something weird like that. So from a draft perspective, it kind of sucks, man. But it's unfortunate seeing Micah go down and so many players across the league because at this juncture of the season, it impacts next year, which Cowboys fans were getting mad at me. I'm like, yo, if Philly wins and Simone is bopping on Saturday night, Dak Prescott, I appreciate it, bro. You need to come sit down with me. CeeDee Lamb, hey, come have a seat. Put your diamond chains on, eat some sun. I'm shutting y'all down for the season because if we're eliminated, I'm not letting these players risk the chance of getting hurt and have some injury carrying over into the offseason or carrying over to next year. I'm shutting it down, letting some of these young rookies get some reps. And we're going to have preseason in December if it's up to me. But I know the Cowboys are going to want to compete because we play on Christmas Day. And, they're going to want to. I'm like, no, shut it down because it's too scary with all these injuries across the league.
Yeah, Jerry going to make him compete. Jerry.
Oh, yeah. He already said, he's like, oh, we're not. I'm like, bro, because the Eagles play Saturday night. I'm like, if they win, we're eliminated, bro. I'm not playing Dak and them. Because I just saw what those Chargers did here in Kansas City. Like, they're not playing like that. Like, they're out there headhunting. Like, they're not the soft little cute little San Diego Chargers that we're used to. Like, Harbaugh has them revved up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're on go right now. And I was like, man, I'm not trying to have Dak out there get his head knocked off with Derwin James over some free games. Like, hey, it's perfectly fine. Joe Milton me, and we'll get ready for next year.
To that point, that's exactly what the Washington Commanders are doing. They announced that they're going to be resting Jaden Daniels the rest of the year. Marcus Mariota is going to step in. I mean, we just saw a horrific Sunday here. Patrick Mahomes done for the year. Micah Parsons, we talked about it. I thought Devontae Adams was going to be worse, but it still looks like that could be a few weeks. Then you go back a couple of weeks, all the assets given up for Sauce Gardner by the Colts, just for him to go down. Their season's completely spiraled. That's the worst of it. Obviously, anytime you see a superstar go down, everyone hates it, no matter who you're a fan of. But then when you look at the assets given up to acquire that guy, you look at how the teams were doing. Green Bay, like you mentioned, Jay Tuck, they looked like they were primed here. I mean, they were in the running for the 1 seed. That's a team that looked like they could be a problem. And now that wasn't the only injury they suffered, by the way. A couple of offensive injuries too. So we'll see what happens with Green Bay, but a big loss for Micah Parsons and the Green Bay Packers there. Let's transition over to another loss, but not really a loss, KB. The Giants lose this football game, but when they lose the football game, they win in the draft. As it stands right now, if the season were to end today, the New York Football Giants would be the first to the podium in the 2026 NFL draft. That comes off a loss to the division rival Washington Commanders. 4-10 now are the Commanders. 2-12 are the New York Giants. Final score 29-21. That aforementioned Marcus Mariota, 211 yards on just 10 completions. That's a crazy stat line. Now we had Bill kind of go off for nearly 100 yards and a touchdown. Jackson Dart, 246, 2 touchdowns and a pick. And KB, this is one of those games where you kind of get to see Jackson Dart ball out a little bit, but this one was kind of over at half. The Giants kind of got back into it a little bit, but going into the fourth quarter, go down by 2 scores yet again. Weren't able to overcome it, but I got a feeling you and Giants fans don't care. Jay Tuck, I'll start with you here, though. G-Men potentially with the number 1 overall pick after this loss to Washington.
Yeah, like I said, man, I feel like KB and the Giants, man, they know how to tank this thing properly. They're not coming up that spot.
You can do one
so
thing
it's
right,
like,
yeah.
yeah. So that, like, they ruined it the first time, right? Because I remember
Yeah.
we were doing the shows, right, and when Rio got Jaden Daniels and like life changed, and they're not going to make that same mistake twice. So because honestly, I didn't think the Giants were going to be in this situation to have the number 1 pick. So since they're here, you might as well take advantage of it. So overall, I will say this though, Marcus Mariota is doing a damn good job as a backup quarterback. I know Rio's probably not too excited about that, but he's really playing some good football. They went out there and handled business versus the Giants, which I kind of expected. But I would say for all 3 of the teams, I know we kind of did the preseason, predictions and all sorts of stuff. I expected maybe the Giants to be at the bottom, maybe Washington to make me take a little step back, but not like this, right? I didn't think that it'd be top 5 picks, and Dallas Cowboys will probably not even hit over 8 wins. So overall, it's been a bad look for the NFC East. I mean, Philly is holding on by a string, but we'll talk about them here in a second. But, for the Cowboys standpoint, we got swept by the North, so it's like, I don't know. Washington, I don't know, right? I feel like Washington's a little bit more trouble because they didn't look good when they actually had their starters earlier in the season, but I know they did have some injury, some issues. But man, you load Jackson Dart, you get Malik Neighbors back because he got healthy or injured earlier in the season, so he'll probably be back. I see what Giants fans are talking about. I ain't gonna help y'all with no draft content, but I see y'all talking about Jordan Tyson and all sorts of stuff like Caleb Downs. Like, I don't know, man. So you go get a boatload of picks. The Giants could be in a good situation for whoever that new head coach might be. I know Mike McCarthy's probably sitting back, thinking, I got the number 1 pick. I got Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors. I can work with that. And he might try to get his revenge in the NFC East. So Giants are in a good spot right now. So, yeah.
Good spot indeed, KB, right? It's a loss, but at this point of the year, why wouldn't you want to try your best to get the number 1 overall pick? And like I mentioned, if the season ended today, that's exactly what the G-men would have. Before we dive into that, dive into what you saw against the Commanders here on Sunday. By the way, the Giants, they were a favorite in this game, right? So they were expected to win it, didn't go their way. What did you make of it, and why did it not go the Giants' way on Sunday?
I'm used to this point in the season, just not even focused on the games, but more so focused on how this matters towards the offseason and the draft and things like that, and what can come of the result of these games. Because, listen, the Giants didn't win the game, but I'll tell you what, this is the first year in a while, and the Giants have been miserable for quite a long time. This first year in a while where they're 2-12 right now or something like that, and I'm still liking to watch the games. Not that I like necessarily what they are right now, but a lot of these younger players, Jackson Dart especially, is a young, thrilling rookie quarterback is always gonna put butts in seats. But I mean, he's playing at a good level right now. You see him against Washington, and he was throwing the ball pretty well. He did have that injury scare. I don't know what I don't really know what that's all about. I have to look into that more. He was pulled in that game. It was another concussion check, but he didn't have a concussion, and he apparently he was confused of why he was getting checked because there wasn't a major. He doesn't even know. And then the Giants came out and said that they're not going to change their game plan or how they're playing him because of that situation. So I don't know what's going on there, but we talked about it before the show. He's got to slide more. He slid a couple times in this game, but there were also times where he still was Ole Miss Jackson Dart and just ran his head into people, and he's still doing it. But, guys like Jackson Dart, guys like Brian Burns out there, and some young pieces on defense, you can see where this offense is headed in the right direction. The offensive line is actually not a liability for the first time in 15 years, and I kid you not. So they're actually good to the point where we might get two of our tackles possibly in a Pro Bowl. I don't know. But as far as the game goes, the Giants would be in position to win that game. For those of you guys that do care about the Giants winning the game, I'm gonna I guess entertain you for that. The Giants could have won that game if our kicker Younghoe Koo didn't miss those 2 field goals earlier in the game, and the Giants would be looking to go down the field in that last drive to kick a field goal as opposed to trying to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion because they were down 8. So the Giants, for those of you guys that are concerned of Washington putting up 29 on us and the Giants only putting up 21, we were competitive in that game. I don't think I think the Giants could have definitely won that game, and I think we were definitely moving the ball downfield, maybe a little better than Washington was, but unfortunately, just missed field goals. That's going to get cleaned up. They just waived Young Koo. So now the Giants are going to have kicker problems because Graham Gano, I mean, he's lost us games not being on the field more than he's won us games at this point. They got to let him go. He's old. Young Koo, he's terrible. Jude McAtomney, he's a foreign exchange student. So they got to find the kicker's going to be a big deal in the offseason. But as far as, the results of this game, there's a lot of good from it. There's a lot of good to losing these games, and I know Giants fans for years have hated to hear me say this, but sometimes it's a good thing to lose these games. Not that I'm really rooting for it, just watch them play. Nothing that I think about is going to influence how they play on the field, and if they lose the games, there's plenty of positives to take from it. Joe Shane is hanging on by a thread right now. Any moment he's going to be fired, and he needs to be fired. Look at the state of this roster right now. It is so top heavy. There is zero depth on this roster. One guy gets hurt on a position, and the entire position looks like absolute garbage after that. Malik Neighbors goes down, and we have nobody after that. We got a 5'8" number one wide receiver. It's insane. So I hopefully, if the Giants keep losing these games, we'll see what happens next week against the Raiders. Joe Shane will be gone. The Giants have the number one overall pick, which is the first time that's happened in my lifetime. So a lot of good can come from this. And the Giants are about to be filthy rich with that number one overall pick because I do not envision them using that. They are definitely going to trade down. There are multiple teams in this draft that have 2 first-round picks in this draft, so we'll see what happens. But a lot of good to come from it, Giants fans. I wouldn't be listen, the world ended a long time ago for Giants fans. Nothing that happens at this point is gonna be any, if we get blown out by the Raiders, who cares? You know what I'm saying? I don't care. But yeah, that's the state of the Giants right now. It more so matters about the offseason.
Doorgunner's saying the Giants will draft a generational bust with the number one overall pick, but you just mentioned
using that pick.
You don't think they're going to use it. So if the season were to end today, and if the Giants do end up with that number one overall pick, what do you envision them doing with it, KB? And what would be satisfactory for you? Realistic, but satisfactory for you to give up that number one overall. What would you look for if you took over for Joe Shane? You think he might get fired, so maybe you can throw your hat in the ring. But if you were in charge, what would you do with that pick?
Oh, man. Well, it's always enticing, right? It's always, you have the pick of the litter. You could pick whoever you want in the draft. Not a lot of teams ever get to say that. Not a lot of GMs ever get to say that. So, of course, it's enticing. You're going to do your due diligence. I don't think, to be honest, that this is a strong draft, to be honest. Just looking at the first couple of top prospects in the draft, I don't see it as a strong draft, especially with the fact that the Giants don't need a quarterback, which is crazy to say. The Giants don't need a quarterback, and they'll have potentially the number one overall pick, so that solves a lot of issues there. So then, now the pick is up for sale. 9 times out of 10 in this situation, I am going to trade down. The Jets have 2 first-round picks in this draft, and I believe the Rams do. The Rams do from last year's trade. And the Rams is really, really interesting because I've seen a couple of mock trades already. They have a pick with the Falcons right now, and I think the Falcons are somewhere in the top 10, maybe just outside the top 10. I would not mind trading down there and seeing what the Giants can have down there, and then also having a first-round pick of wherever they're going to land. It's probably going to be the low 20s. So I would be very interested in that. I don't know if the Jets would trade with us just because of the whole New York thing. I don't know if they would. We would. I don't know if the Jets would. They've always been salty with us for a long time, so I don't know because we're the big brothers. But I would definitely trade the pick. Definitely trade the pick. The Rams would definitely be an interesting one because, you have to think about life after Matt Stafford and maybe them wanting to trade up to number 1 and get a quarterback early to groom up is a possibility for them. But that's something I'm looking forward to more so than using that number 1 overall pick when you already have a quarterback. There's Caleb Downs, a safety, and a wide receiver who has injury concerns, and another wide receiver. Those are the top guys in this draft. You're not going to want to draft them number 1 overall, so you could just try to trade down.
Door Gunner's also adding that Shane trades the number 1 overall pick to draft 2 generational busts like he did with Neal and Tibbs. Quarterback class stinks, so teams might not trade up. Well, regardless with what they do with it, KB, I know that mock draft season starting in November isn't fun, but it's a lot more fun when you have the number 1 overall pick and you do have a quarterback that you're confident in. That way you could potentially move off of it, stack up, and address that roster that you were just referring to is just not currently up to snuff right now to be able to compete. So we'll see if the Giants can continue down the path towards getting that 1 seed. And if they do end up getting it, I know we're going to have an excited KB on here throughout the offseason. All right, let's transition from the Washington Giants game to the Philadelphia Eagles game that we saw take place on Sunday, and they finally got a W after losing a couple in a row, but it came against the team that just about everybody on the planet would expect to get a W against right now. This might be the worst team in football. I don't know how they don't have the number 1 overall pick right now. KB, shout out to your Giants for finding a way to surpass the Las Vegas Raiders. The Philadelphia Eagles, they dominate against the Raiders team in this one. Final score, 31-0. And this is an Eagles offense that really hasn't looked like they'd be capable of winning a game like this. I think it just goes to show you the state of the Raiders right now. This stat line certainly will go ahead and tell you that. Kenny Pickett, the quarterback for the Raiders in this one, 15 of 25 for 64 yards and an interception. Ashton Genty, 9 carries, 35 yards. Absolutely no offense to be spoken of for the Raiders. They would finish, fellas, with 75 total yards of offense. I've really never seen a stat line quite like that in my life. Meanwhile, on the other end of things, it only took 15 attempts for Jalen Hurts to get this one done. 12 of 15, $175 and 3 touchdowns. Doesn't get much more efficient than that. Saquon, 22 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert went off at the tight end position, 2 touchdowns on 6 receptions. Eagles bounce back, but how much do you really take from this one, KB, knowing that it was against the Raiders?
Looking at the stat line, you guys ever play Madden Connected Franchise and like you don't want to sim through the games, but you want to hurry up and get through them. Like you want to play them, but you're trying to keep the statistics as realistic as possible. That's exactly what the Eagles did. 31-0. You just completely dominate the other team's offense. You're usering on defense. You're making sure they don't pick up any first downs, but then you just cruise along. He was 12 of 15, 175, 3 touchdowns. That's what it looked like to me. Golly, Raiders, you couldn't put up a point. You couldn't put up anything against the Eagles. I was hoping to God that something would happen, that some crazy, that the football gods would bless us with the craziest upset of all time, because you're right, Z-Bot. That is the worst football team maybe I don't know if I've ever seen, but they are terrible. The Raiders are terrible. I would be shocked if the Giants lose to them next week. I wouldn't mind if we did, but I would be shocked if the Giants lose to them next week, because that team is an absolute mess. Pete Carroll's going to be a one and done. Geno Smith's going to be a one and done. Free my boy Ashton Genty, bro. You guys cannot be doing my boy Genty like this on this garbage team, wasting his career. He's a running back. They're not going to last very long to begin with. But the Eagles needed this one. It came at the perfect time. They lost freaking 4 straight or something like that. And, of course, they get the Raiders on their schedule, so they could just get a get-back game. This was easy for them. But, I mean, this was expected. A lot of Eagles fans, bro, you could tell how insecure that fan base is. Just coming out the woodworks, making all like tweets and stuff like that. Oh, you guys doubted us. Look what we did to the Raiders. Bro, it's the Raiders. Yeah, we're back. How you guys talking all that smack? Look at the Cowboys. Look at losing to the Vikings. And oh my goodness. You can't be serious. Everybody saw this coming to the point where I didn't even pay attention to this game whatsoever. I knew this was going to be a win for the Eagles. I didn't need to watch any highlights, So, damn, man, I just wanted. Oh man, that would have been so good to come on this show for a Raiders upset. But that was like a less than 0 chance of that happening. But it's the Eagles, whatever.
75 yards is insane. My Bills played the Patriots Sunday in the fourth quarter. Travion Henderson had a 65-yard touchdown run. In one play, he essentially totaled what the Raiders were capable of doing on their entire offense through a full 60 minutes of football. So, Jay Tuck, we know the Philly defense, on any given Sunday, they can be one of the league's best. But did you expect them to hold the Raiders to this? I mean, quite literally might be one of the more embarrassing performances we've seen.
Yeah, good old-fashioned slump buster, man. Oh, you can just reliable to get the job done, get you back on track. Yeah, I expected Philly to go out there and handle business. If they didn't versus the Raiders, man, all hell would have broke loose. So they did what they expected them to do, but it's going to be interesting to see, okay, was it something that was fixable, or was it just because it was versus the Raiders? So now people understand why CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens went out that night in Vegas, because it was just the Raiders. But I didn't expect the Raiders to be this bad. Like you said, KB, Ashton Genty, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Is it him? Is it the organization? Like, I really don't know. But I will say this. Any Raiders fans out there, you know what I'm saying? If you need 2 first-round draft picks, don't listen to KB. I got 2 for you. Let me free Max Crosby a ball for hands. But the Eagles went out there and handled business versus the Raiders. So we'll see how things really look, but I know fake bravado when I see it, right? Eagles fans are beating on their chest a little bit like King Kong, but they're still not comfortable. And when they have, go against KB's Bills, that's when we'll see, what it's really about. But overall, I mean, the Eagles went out there and did what they were supposed to do versus the Raiders.
No doubt. You got to take that.
You had thought Phillip Rivers coming back and look better than Kenny Pickett. I don't know. So it's just like,
no, that's a crazy story. That's crazy.
That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. So it's just like, I don't know. They got some problems in Vegas, and I don't know.
Old man Phil almost knocked off one of the best teams in the NFL. So I don't know what Kenny Pickett's excuse was in this one, but he also had the revenge factor there too, going up against his former team.
But you got Brock Bowers. Like, it's not like you don't have players. Like, you have players. Like,
now that's the funny thing. You got Genty, you got Bowers. They did have a top wide receiver in Jacoby Myers, who's gone to Jacksonville and has been producing terrifically for them. Other side of things, Max Crosby, one of the best defensive players in the league. It's just I don't even know how to explain it. You thought Tom Brady would come in with Pete Carroll, a former legend there, and find a way to at least have a decent year, but this is certainly something. A couple of super chats before we get into predictions for Week 16. We got The Template coming back in. Great to see you as always stopping in on a Tuesday. He's saying, I'm 39 years old. The last time we swept the Giants in back-to-back years, I was 3 years away from being conceived. I'll take dropping
Congrats, we give you that. Congrats, we give you that. We've been spanking you guys for a long time. We're going to give you this one.
Tim's willing to concede a couple of spots in the draft order, KB, to beat up on your Giants. So I guess it's a win-win here for both of you guys. Green Wingman coming in, always stopping by. Good to see you, Green Wingman. He's saying, I know it's early, but what quarterbacks could climb up the draft that team could be willing to trade up? Because it feels like the Giants are having the number 1 next year. It may be a burden. I don't know about you, KB, but we say this in December. You get to April, and there's always a couple teams who panic and trade up to get a quarterback, regardless of what you think of them.
Yeah, I mean, look at Jackson Dart's stock. I mean, Jackson Dart was looked at as like a surefire. He's a second-round guy. Then we heard about him possibly getting taken in the top 10, and he wound up going 25th. But still, like, it happens in every single draft. And you just look at Fernando Mendoza just won the Heisman. That's going to boost his stock no matter what, just the notoriety of getting the Heisman. Listen, everybody's going to overanalyze the film. And Diego, I don't know about him, but everybody's going to overanalyze the film, as everyone does, and then stock is going to go up. And these guys will probably get taken. There'll probably be like 2 or 3 quarterbacks to go in the first. So let's see if any of them is worthy of going number 1 overall. Somebody would take the bait there, but
it happens every year. Bo Nix wasn't supposed to go in the first round. The Broncos come up to get him. Michael Penix, they had just given Kirk Cousins $100 million. They come up to get him. It happens every single year. So I wouldn't fret about that. There is going to be a team or 2 at the minimum.
Moore out of Oregon.
There's guys. That's the thing. And like you're mentioning, Jay Tuck, there's also guys no one's talking about right now that all of a sudden, February, March, this guy, he looked good in the combine. It happens every year. There's going to be a team or 2 that panic. We got Linda, who's always hanging out with us on a Tuesday. Good to see you, Linda. all caps for this one. I got a feeling it's directed towards Jay Tuck, saying if your team win percentage is at .464 or lower, your trolling card is now revoked, and your priority is your team and yourself. Book your ticket to Cabo. Linda feeling real good after that beatdown over the Raiders, Jay Tuck.
I'm telling you. And like, it's like this fake. They're so insecure. You could see it. You could see the mask that they're wearing. They are in shambles right now.
Just to Linda for watching, you could have just said under 500. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
like, simplify it.
She wanted to let you know exactly.
Yeah, all the decimals. So she did her research. Like
listen, right now the Eagles is like going through a bad breakup, and that Raiders team was that tub of ice cream. You think you're feeling better. You think you're feeling better right now, but you guys are way insecure about yourselves. Okay.
I love it.
Well said, KB. All right, well, we will turn the page from Week 15 to Week 16 in just a second. Before we do, I want to give a shout-out to my friends over at RotoWire. You've been watching us take advantage of the premium features on RotoWire all season long. We suggest you do the same. One of my favorite features on their site is their NFL odds tool, where they give you all of the odds for every single game each and every week, all in one place. That way you can compare the odds amongst all the major sports books and make sure you're getting the best value. That includes Thursday night football for what could be maybe the game of the year. The LA Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks in prime time out in Seattle. This very likely could decide the NFC West. This is going to be a show, and you can get in on the action using the RotoWire premium tool to get the best line for the Rams over on FanDuel or the best line for the Seahawks over on ESPN Bet. You can do this for not only the Thursday night game, but for any of the games in Week 16. So take advantage of this premium tool and all the other premium tools on RotoWire via the link in the description below. Click that and sign up for a premium RotoWire subscription. And once you do, use the promo code RTS, and that will get you 15% off that premium subscription over on RotoWire. Speaking of that epic Thursday night battle between two bitter NFC West rivals, get in on the action with Sleeper. This is a game you're going to want to be dialed into, and you might as well add a little bit more stake to the action using Sleeper. I did, using my pick in front of you here. I got Sam Darnold with my free pick, more than a half pass yard. Matt Stafford, more than 229.5 passing yards. He's trying to gun down that MVP. He's currently the betting favorite, and if he beats Seattle, likely winds up being the MVP for 2025. I also have Puka getting into the end zone. No Devontae Adams. Going to be more balls being thrown to Puka, especially in the red zone. So I got him getting in this game. That's good for a multiplier of 3.5x. If you want to tell this, or of course create your own, link in the description below. Click that and sign up for Sleeper. Once you do, you will immediately get a free $20 entry. You can use that for Thursday night football, any of the games in Week 16, NBA, NHL, you name it. It's all on Sleeper. And once you use your free $20 entry, use the promo code on your screen, RTS, and that will get you a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper terms of use for details. Currently available in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper via the link in the description below. We have a couple more super chats that just came in before we head on over to our Week 16 predictions. Let's start off here with Cole's Cowboys saying 1% Cowboys still got a chance, Jay Tuck.
I love the spirit. That's the spirit, Coles.
What does this 1% entail, Jay Tuck? Do you know exactly what the hell has to happen?
The Eagles have to lose out and we have to win out.
All right, Eagles have to lose out. My Bills will help you do your part there. We'll see if the Commanders can help them do their part this upcoming Saturday. We'll touch on that.
Mariota, man, I need you.
Yep.
Hey, listen, he took the Broncos to overtime.
Man, it's not even about the Eagles losing out. It's about us winning out, man. We'll talk about our matchup. It's like hell. I don't even know. JJ McCarthy can gritty all over us. Ain't no telling what Marcus Mariota might do.
Mariota revenge game, baby.
Yeah,
Pickett couldn't do it. Mariota will.
Anthony coming in. Giants are about to win out and lose that pick, KB.
Listen, I fully expect it. I thought we were going to screw it up last week, but we are going to screw it up. Like, I hope we get the first overall pick. It doesn't mean I hope we're going to lose every game, but, whatever. We don't need to talk about that. But I fully expect them to screw it up. They're gonna just wipe the floor with the Raiders. I thought they were gonna beat the Commanders, but I guess it's gonna happen with the Raiders because then we have the Vikings and then the Cowboys. I don't think I see us beating the Cowboys. Well, unless they bench everybody like J-Tuck was mentioning. But,
yeah, there we go.
But we'll see what happens.
The problem is that Week 18 game is essentially a playoff game in the worst way for you, KB. Or the Week 17 game. You and the Raiders taking each other on there. That's got to be. That's got to be for the 1 seed, I would imagine. Green Wingman back in the building. Eagles beat a bad team. Nothing to brag about. Hopefully they found something of an offense that they can lean into for the next 3 games before heading into the playoffs. Well said, Green Wingman. We know the defense. Any given week, they can be one of the league's best. It's that offense. They have the personnel to do it. It's a matter of taking advantage of it. They did against the Raiders. We'll see if they can do so down the stretch here. We have Peter coming in saying, yo, guys are doing a great job. Appreciate you, Peter. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. And we will now dive into our Week 16 predictions. And Pete's a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and we'll start with his Eagles taking on the Washington Commanders on Saturday. It's officially that time of the year where Saturday football is in full swing, and the Philadelphia Eagles will be featured on Saturday this upcoming weekend against division rival, the Washington Commanders. Eagles on the road. They're 9-5. Commanders 4-10. We just saw Washington with Marcus Mariota beat KB's Giants. We saw the Marcus Mariota-led Washington Commanders take the number 1 seed in the AFC to overtime just a couple of weeks ago in the Denver Broncos. So there is potential here for Washington to pull off an upset. The question is, KB, will they pull off an upset at home against the Eagles on Saturday?
Listen, I'm praying to the football gods deliver me 4 straight losses to the Eagles. And praise be, I'm going to be praying again. I need another downfall, baby. I need Marcus Mariota. Listen, if one former Eagles backup couldn't do it, the better former Eagles backup can do it. Marcus Mariota, revenge game, baby. Let's go. We need this. I know the comments are blowing us saying KB's a hate watcher. I don't care. This is what being a Giants fan has turned into. Just sitting back and watching everything play out in your division because you're never a part of it. I'm sorry. This is my life. I don't care. I'm going to be hate watching this game, and I'm hoping for Marcus Mariota to pull one out against the Eagles and play spoiler. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm hoping for it. Just like I was hoping for that Eagles, that Raiders upset. But the Commanders are a little bit of a better team, a little bit more competitive, and we'll see. We'll see if the Eagles wind up stinking up the bed when it comes to the Commanders. They did it against us. They did it against the Giants. So NFC East rivalry, you never know what's going to happen. So far they haven't swept anybody, right? So they split with us and they split with the Cowboys. So I think don't they play the Commanders twice for the rest of this season or no? Have they played the Commanders before this season?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Well, taking a peek here, no, they haven't. 2 of the next 3,
so
KB.
They have 2 games. So they have 2 games. Oh man, Washington, I need you guys to come through in the best way possible, please. You got 2 games. You got 2 games, please. But they have a tough task to try to play spoiler because they got to play them twice. But I think the Eagles are gonna win. I can't with my brain, I can't say the Commanders are gonna win, but I'm hoping that they do.
My Buffalo Bills are in the middle of that Washington Commanders sandwich there. So this is the first slice of the bread here, Jay Tuck. Yeah. Commanders, Eagles, any possibility we see an upset on Saturday night?
It's going to be hard, right? It's going to be hard. But like I said, Marcus Mariota's been playing some good football, so he can catch it. He could probably make it a little closer than expected, but I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles are going to handle the Washington Commanders. I would be shocked, right? The Commanders have too many injuries across the board. Jaden Daniels out. I feel like the Eagles have possibly been waiting, kind of hit the light switch to kind of gear up and get ready for playoffs. And, they have the opportunity again to eliminate their most hated rivals in the Dallas Cowboys. So y'all can end our season Saturday night and I can go ahead and go golfing or do something on Sunday, right? But I think the Eagles can handle business versus the Washington Commanders, unfortunately. But hey, if Marcus Mariota is able to sneak one, I wouldn't be too upset at that, but it's going to be too much for Washington.
Let's go to Sunday early afternoon window, 1 p.m. Eastern. The LA Chargers, winners of 3 straight. They just officially knocked the Kansas City Chiefs out of the playoffs. If you thought that was going to happen 4 months ago, I would like to know the winning lottery numbers for this upcoming Mega Millions here, but that's what wound up going down. They get the W there. Winners of 3 straight, like I mentioned, they're 10-4, and this, on paper at least, would be the most winnable game they have remaining in the last 3. They have been struggling to score, though, these Chargers. The Cowboys can pile on points. I don't know if the Chargers are going to be able to match what the Cowboys offense is capable of putting out there. So, KB, I ask you, the Chargers on the road here against Dallas, are they going to be able to put up enough points to beat the Cowboys on Sunday?
Well, we've seen the Vikings, though. We see 9 do it. So, I mean, anybody can, Justin Herbert, I mean, he slowed down, but he was off to a really good run this season, and so were the Chargers. So, I mean, anything's possible. It really doesn't matter if they're home or away at this point. I mean, but I think the Chargers could do it. Will they? I don't know. The Chargers have been like that for years. Like, they can just play lights out defense, have an explosive offense for the first couple of weeks or in the middle of the season, and then they'll just die out. So I don't know which Chargers team we'll be getting here. I'm interested to see how that hand is doing for Herbert. He hasn't missed a game, but he hasn't been performing very great after that injury. So I don't know if that's going to affect him still. So the Chargers have something to play for. The Cowboys will, just like what J-Tuck said, we don't even know if they'll have anything to play for, when it comes around the Sunday. So I'm going to say the Chargers win this one just because they have a little bit more to play for, and they're going to try to get some momentum going into the postseason. And, just like J-Tuck said, Jim Harbaugh has them playing hard out there. So thinking that this could be a good win for the Chargers.
J-Tuck, should the Eagles find a way to lose to the Commanders on Saturday to keep your 1% playoff chances alive, got to get it done against the Chargers. Any hope of doing so in Dallas on Sunday?
There's hope, but Z-Bot, you said a very key thing that unless you're a J-Tuck supporter or follower, you probably didn't catch it. And when you said 1 p.m. Eastern. All right. Well, Tucker, that doesn't make a deal. That means it's a noon game in Dallas. So here we are. Dallas Cowboys playoff hopes is minimal, 1% chance. You have the Chargers coming. It's not going to be a big marquee game. It's going to be at noon, so there's not going to be a lot of energy in the building. It's going to be damn near a neutral game. And when you look at what the Chargers are able to do, they have a lot of things. And for me, even though I'm a Cowboys guy, the Cowboys content creator, you guys know I do a lot of NFL draft content. And the one team that actually follows J-Tuck's advice religiously is the Chargers. Like they might take my whole draft board and just put it. So they have one of my favorite players in last year's draft class, and I cannot wait to see him play.
Hampton.
Amari and Hampton,
and
and my guy T-Mac out there in Carolina. When I was watching versus the Cowboys, he went crazy. And then my dog Luther Burden out there in Chicago said, "Yo, Tuck, you watching, bro? I got you." He went crazy. And now my last favorite draft pick in the class is coming to Dallas to face off against this horrific Dallas Cowboys defense. I'm expecting a big day from Amari and Hampton, but also, if you're not able to get pressure on Justin Herbert and you're going to keep him clean like we did last week versus J.J. McCarthy, and our corners are still going to be lethargic because you got Keenan Allen, Trey Harris. Not sure Quentin Johnson's going to give it a go. I know he was out, but you have another one of my favorite draft prospects that the Chargers sniped, in Arondé Gatson out of Syracuse. They have some guys that can go out there and actually put up points if you're not getting pressure on Justin Herbert. Their defense is playing outstanding. Derwin James, the list goes on and on. Diane Hanley, their linebacker. I think this is going to be a back and forth battle. I think this is going to be a tough one. Yeah, but Dak is going to be playing. He's going to be pissed off. Yeah, I'm going with the Cowboys to win this one, a close one. Brandon Aubrey from 70 yards because he's probably pissed off that he missed 2 field goals, so he'll probably boot one through the uprights to win this game. But I expect this to be a back and forth battle at high noon because Harbaugh has this team playing lights out, So I'm going to go with the Cowboys to win this one, unfortunately. But like I said, the Eagles win Saturday night, man. Sit everybody. Sit everybody and, fight for that number 1 spot. Come out to that number 1 spot that KB got.
Well, we've been talking about 9 this entire stream here. He came off a W over those Dallas Cowboys. Now he gets the chance to get a W against the New York Giants. So the question is, will it be J.J. McCarthy being his own meme or will they be photoshopping Jackson Dart onto the 9 meme after this one is said and done?
Oh,
Jay
no,
Tuck,
please.
I'll start with you. Minnesota, New York in MetLife. Who do you got winning it and why?
Yeah, I think Minnesota wins this one. Minnesota is a good football team. I think the really issue was the quarterback position, but they're kind of finding that, you couldn't play Carson Wentz for much longer, but you got JJ McCarthy, he's starting to play revved up. And so you're having this new trend, right? And these new age quarterbacks are coming out there with diamond chains, they got some swag about them. So you get Jackson Dart versus JJ McCarthy versus Jackson Dart. This is not your old Brady versus Peyton Manning matchup. These guys are out there listening to, all sorts of rap music and NBA YoungBoy and all sorts of stuff, having fun. So it's going to be a fun matchup, but I still think the Minnesota Vikings will win this matchup, man, because I just saw what Brian Flores was able to do to Dak Prescott. I can imagine what that defense is going to do to Jackson Dart, man. He threw the kitchen sink at Dak, and he had everything which way. He had, 6 linemen on the line of scrimmage showing and dropping. Safeties were moving all over the place. I think it's going to be a little too much defensively for Jackson Dart. So I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings to win this game. And I think that this will be the game where KB actually gets some fantasy points from Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, we'll see. I already lost, so whatever.
Yeah, all you're done. Never mind. Watch him go crazy, watch him go crazy.
My bad, Jay Tuck. Where am I at here? My webcam just completely fell off the top of the computer. That's why if you're looking at me right now, I'm literally in your living room. If you're watching me, I don't know what the hell just happened, but I'm back. Jeez, that scared the living hell out of me. Sorry about that. All right, KB, it's your Giants taking on the Vikings. Who do you got winning it in this one and why?
Yeah, I gotta apologize. I thought, listen, this is how not in tune I am with the schedule. I thought we were playing the Raiders this week. I got my schedule mixed up. I was out here talking about the Raiders the entire time prior to the show, trying to build that up. All right, I didn't know we were going against NFL Sasha Fierce this week, so there's not too much to break down. Jay Tuck said it. I mean, Brian Flores runs a mean defense, one of the most complicated defenses you're going to see in today's game, and it's extremely explosive. And so they're going to throw a lot at Jackson Dart. He's a rookie. He hasn't really come from the offense in college where he's really experienced and reading a lot of defenses. He's done a good job up to this point, I will say that. But at the same time, I don't think he's ready for this type of defense, especially with how Brian Flores likes to mix things up. So this is going to be a tough one for Jackson Dart. I don't see the Giants winning this game. I just don't see it. I think, Minnesota's going to have a fine time running the ball. Like Jay Tuck said, I think Justin Jefferson is going to come on versus the Giants because we don't have anybody that's going to cover this guy. Paulson Adebo has not been playing well. He's been, playing through injuries, so he's not going to be able to contain Justin Jefferson if they do decide to target him, because it seems like the Vikings in the past couple of weeks haven't needed to. And they haven't, but this may be the time where they do just that, just to help him out, I guess. But the Giants aren't going to win this game, and we're going to see a lot of boos. And honestly, I'm happy that we got the Vikings first rather than the Raiders, because if the Giants mess around and beat the Raiders, not that it boosts any morale in the fan base or in the front office, but it's definitely not going to lower it if they wind up winning. I wouldn't mind if we just, it sucks to say, guys, it really does, but we just get absolutely handled by the Vikings at home, and then that's going to be the final nail in the coffin. And say, Joe Shane, you got to get out of here. We got to do some damage control. I know there's not much a GM, there's not much use in firing a GM in the season, but you got to go. We need somebody to blame, and we need to get him out of there as soon as possible. So this may be the right time, right place, right time for the Giants to face up against 9 NFL Sasha Fierce.
9. We'll see what he does against the New York Giants. Looking forward to recapping that one next week. But for this one, that's going to do it. We recapped Week 15. We previewed Week 16. And we look forward to being back with you same time, same place next week, Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on the NFC East Roundtable. But in the meantime, that is going to wrap it up for tonight. For Jay Tuck, KB, Simone, and Rio, who could not be here, hope to have them back next week. I'm your host, Z-Bot. Thanks so much, as always, for tuning in to the NFC East Roundtable. and we'll see you on the
Roundtable Sports Network is your one-stop shop for all things NFL, with daily live shows covering all 8 divisions in the league, hosted by the best content creators on the web, all on one network. Catch the AFC East live every Monday at 7 p.m. and on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. The AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. The AFC North Roundtable live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. The AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. The NFC East Roundtable live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. The NFC West Roundtable live at 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. The NFC North Roundtable is at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, and the NFC South Roundtable is live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EST. And of course, fourth and forever, the flagship show of Roundtable Sports Network covering all things NFL at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Roundtable Sports YouTube channel. Real coverage, real fans.